Mauricio Pochettino has been sacked as Spurs manager. Jose Mourinho is announced to be his replacement within the next 48 hours. The rumour mill at Old Trafford hints that Gregg Popovich could also be under threat before the start of the season. Manchester United fans planning to rally as support pub is born. That's all before we've even kicked a ball in the 1920 season. We'll give you a preview of everything you need to know. And we will also bring you highlights from the pre-season tournament, the International Champions Cup. So straight on to our top story for the day, the surprising sacking of Mauricio Pochettino. And we say surprising in the big possible way because just a month ago Mauricio Pochettino took a Spurs side to the UEFA Champions League final. Considering the European pedigree in that competition, you wouldn't have put Spurs to be at least in the knockout rounds, let alone the final, in which they ultimately lost to Liverpool. Pochettino's sacking is continuing the managerial merry-go-round before this season begins. Of course, Mauricio Sarri walked from his position at Chelsea at the end of the season, most would say due to fan pressure, and then he was eventually replaced of course with Frank Lampard. And then Arsenal surprisingly pulling the plug on Unai Emery and replacing him with Mikel Arteta. This season already has two previous players managing clubs. The biggest surprise to come out of all of this, however, is the impending signing of Jose Mourinho, who is going to be obviously returning to the Premier League for the first time since he left Manchester United at the manager position 2 days after winning the Europa League final 2 seasons ago, which led to the appointment eventually for Manchester United of Gregg Popovich. But now we're hearing from sources that Gregg Popovich could also be under threat from his position, and that would be a biggest surprise of them all. Gregg Popovich over the last couple of seasons has really made a name for himself and really has improved the Manchester United team, especially the youngsters in the squad such as Marcus Rashford for example. He drove the club to second in his second season, just bringing the gap down to Manchester City by 2 points, which was a huge improvement considering the 19 points he had been behind them in his first season. And even though it didn't ultimately lead to a Champions League victory, that night in Paris, even though it had slices of luck in it, did signal Gregg's improvement in the squad also in the Champions League. Of course, after that night, Gregg Popovich stated in a post-match interview that he now knows what he will need for his squad and to take the pressure off these youngsters in big situations like this for the future. And of course, at the end of the league season, Gregg Popovich stated, "Give me what I need," in a plea to the owners. The anti-Glazer movement of the Manchester United fan base immediately noticed this and rallied behind Gregg Popovich ever since. Over the last couple of days, they've been gathering outside Old Trafford in their traditional green and gold colours with banners and the hashtag #SupportPub. The anti-Glazer movement has noticed a pattern in the last few seasons after they have let go of managers that have supposedly improved their team. Louis van Gaal was the first of these. After winning the FA Cup final, he was let go of on the same day, and despite winning the Carabao Cup and the Europa League in the first season, Jose Mourinho left his position 2 days after the Europa League final. And the anti-Glazer movement has been raising its theories over what really happened to Jose Mourinho in that instance. So as you can imagine, the anti-Glazer movement in particular, and even Manchester United fans that aren't a part of it, have been trying to avoid this situation happening for a third time. And as we said earlier, they've been gathering outside Old Trafford in their colours with their banners in droves over the last couple of days, and it's no doubt that Popovich does have the support of the fan base, and even there have been rumours of walkouts and possible protests from the day he is sacked. If that is to be the case, it would be a huge surprise to let a man like Gregg Popovich, who's been improving the team, go, but as we said earlier, there seems to be a pattern emerging once again, and the anti-Glazer movement has had enough in particular, and even Manchester United fans who aren't particularly knowledgeable about the owners have joined on board as well. And even the players, or some of them anyway, who have remained anonymous, are even voicing the same support for Coach Popovich as the fans are. There's no doubt that Popovich does have support of everyone involved with Manchester United, even if he doesn't necessarily have the owners backing. Gregg Popovich has smartly stayed quiet in all these matters, instead focusing on his squad for for the upcoming International Challenge Cup pre-season tournament. Two managerial appointments that haven't changed, however, is at Manchester City and Liverpool, with Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp respectively. Speaking of the International Champions Cup pre-season tournament earlier, in the North American group, it's Real Madrid, Manchester United and both Milan clubs. While in Asia, Arsenal are with Benfica, Juventus and Bayern Munich. Of course, in the UEFA Super Cup, it's the UEFA Champions League winners Liverpool against the Europa League winners Chelsea. The first round of the FA Cup has also been drawn. Here are the seedings. Preston North End will take on Sheffield Wednesday. Hull City will be facing Leeds United. Stoke City will be facing Millwall. Queen's Park Rangers will be facing Cardiff City. Newly promoted to the Premier League, Norwich City will take on Barnsley. Swansea City will take on Bristol City. Derby County will be taking on Huddersfield Town. Charlton Athletic will be taking on Brentford. Nottingham Forest will be up against Blackburn Rovers. Wigan Athletic will take on Middlesbrough. West Bromwich Albion will be taking on Luton. And finally, Reading will be taking on Birmingham City. Taking a look at the groups for the Champions League, Paris Saint-Germain and Real Madrid look like the hot favourites in Group A. It's a bit of a group of death for Club Brugge and Galatasaray. It's the same situation in Group B as Bayern Munich and Chelsea will have Olympiacos and Young Boys. In Group C, it's Manchester City that are the hot favourites. Shakhtar Donetsk, Dynamo Zagreb and Atalanta do provide some competition for the second spot. Group D has Juventus and Atletico Madrid with Bayer Leverkusen and Lokomotiv Moscow. That seems a tight-knit group. Anyone could progress from there. Gregg Popovich's third campaign in the Champions League. He is drawn with Group E and Napoli, Kranjskor and Genk. Group F is a simple one for Barcelona and Inter Milan as they entertain Porto and Silva Pereira. In Group G, it's a lot like a tight-knit group with Zenit, Benfica, Lyon and Dynamo Kiev. And finally, in Group H, Liverpool will have Ajax, Valencia and Lille. The pre-match press conference before Manchester United's opening game in the International Champions Cup against Real Madrid, Gregg Popovich had announced that he will be going into the final season of his initial contract as head coach of Manchester United, making fans very happy. There'll be a few players he's without, however. Ander Herrera has left the club on a free to join Paris Saint-Germain. Jesse Zardes' loan deal has expired and thus he will return to the MLS. Marcus Rojo has gone out on loan to Estudiantes, and Chris Smalling has been loaned out to Roma. One player that would be returning, however, was Dean Henderson, who had been recalled from his loan at Sheffield United and put right into the matchday squad for United this afternoon. Commentary from Peter Jury and Jim Beglin.
Hello and welcome to you all as our coverage of the opening fixture of the International Champions Cup gets underway. It is a slightly new concept for some of you, but it is a special invitation event held both stateside and in Asia, as it has been since 2013. Interest in the competition has been phenomenal. It has drawn in crowds of over 100,000, which signal again that football is indeed a worldwide sport. It presents a rare opportunity for fans who cannot travel to watch their clubs or their favourite players to see them right on their own doorstep. It's one of the great amphitheatres of the game. You are welcome to it and indeed to one of the grandest fixtures. Near hysteria generated everywhere that these teams have gone. A lot of young faces amongst the crowds. These are the next generation of fans.
Yes, Peter, as you have intimated, a great stage for both clubs. A chance for supporters to see their team up close and personal too. And indeed an opportunity to grow the fan base and of course expand into new markets. The success of these events is triggering more, and it's wonderful to know that there's a huge appetite to keep them coming, and I hope they do.
So we're up and running. Marcelo with the crossfield ball. quite a run, and he's not done yet. It's a brilliant interception. Kroos. Time to deliver. Toni Kroos. Bale shoots!
It's hardly a surprise, is it? That's what we're here for. A player with this wonderful knack of being able to show up and deliver at important times. Yet another example. It's a keeper's nightmare, Peter. He just couldn't pick up on it until it was way too late, having so many bodies in front of him.
I doubt very much that this was in the script. Referee's given a throw. Azar. Garner battles to win it back. Rashford tries a shot! Really well taken goal. They have come roaring back. Jim, your thoughts?
Yeah, all engineered, Peter, by some smart running and movement. That's already something to admire, but how about the pass? Just wonderful. Loved it.
Manchester United grab the equaliser and we're all square.
Yeah, for me, both sides are strong and well matched, and I think you need to be a good player to be out there right now.
Hazard. Bale. Shapes to shoot. Midway through the first period, and it's looking quite a game here. Diogo Dalot. Rashford. And the finish! Goal! Manchester United! They've done it! It was coming! They have their reward!
The invitation was received with such a clever run, and he had that defence in utter confusion.
The second of the game, and an eye now for the hat-trick. So we have a breakthrough. Now how will things develop from here?
Well, it's been an absolutely fabulous spell for them, and they're starting to look unstoppable. There could be more on the way.
That is very well defended. Fosu Mensah plays it forward. Hit long and direct. And that'll go straight through to the keeper. Modric. Marcelo. Good challenge, he just stood firm. It's been intercepted, and that will come to nothing. And that'll be a goal kick. Sergio Ramos tries to switch the play. And it's Rashford. Chance! Oh, that was no routine save.
Rashford is very sporting here to acknowledge the quality of the save. A lovely little footballing moment.
And out to safety. Andreas Pereira. In comes the cross. Marcelo. And it's Azar. And here's Benzema. Madrid have a free kick. Referee has resisted the temptation to go to his pocket. It's just a stern lecture. Benzema gets on the end of it. Benzema! And again the keeper stands strong. Kroos plays it short. There are a few waiting for it. Nice touch. Room for a shot. And it's half-time here. Manchester United come roaring back in quite some style. We've got a very different game now. So there was the first half.
Well, give me a moment to get my breath back. What a super half of football. Instant packed goals, comebacks, and the match being turned on its head. Which way it's going to go from here, it's anyone's guess.
Manchester United leading by 1 in a finely poised game. It is intriguing to watch and could easily go either way. Manchester United just have to run down the clock. Sergio Ramos does well there, alert. Marcelo. And that will be the final act. What a match, what a comeback. That is how to respond to adversity. Truly deserving winners.
So thanks to a great comeback win and both Milan clubs drawing, that meant Manchester United led the group going into the second match, which would be them against the first of the Milan clubs, AC Milan.
Well, it is day 2 of the International Champions Cup. The fans getting another chance to see some of their favourite clubs from Europe and beyond. A real party atmosphere, dare I say it, a carnival of an atmosphere. Further evidence of the increasing popularity of the beautiful game in countries where previously it wasn't thought possible. The clubs really are putting in a massive effort too, with fan interaction, a big theme in the time between matches. And the players, I'm glad to report, seem thoroughly to be enjoying their newfound widespread fame as well. This is one of the great amphitheatres of the game. You are welcome to it, and indeed to one of the grandest fixtures. So the pivotal day, we should know which way this competition is going by the end of it.
Yeah, Peter, and as previously mentioned, hopefully football will be the biggest winner here. It's a tournament that, I think it's fair to say, doesn't demand the heights of competitiveness. You know, fitness plays an important part and the chance to introduce emerging talent. but it all adds up to a tremendously popular event, and you only have to listen to the noise in this stadium to feel how invested these supporters are.
There's the whistle, and here we go. Who do you think this turns on, Jim?
I'm going to go with Juan Mata. We know pace is not his thing, a quick brain is. He's got good vision, expert passing. He's also very clever when it comes to free kick taking, and a player who's just very good at his overall craft.
Okay, interesting. Diogo Dalot drives it forward. Great strength, too strong for his opponent. Alexis Sanchez. It's Alexis Sanchez! Oh, what a hit! What a hit! He's got himself a peach of a goal! The contact was crisp and clean. That was just a rocket.
Is it just me, or did he make that look very, very easy? That was terrific skill and composure from him. He finished with such a plumb.
Manchester United have made their breakthrough, so can they build on it?
Yeah, on another occasion.
And that'll be the final action of the first half. And here we are, off they go for half-time. The breakthrough did indeed come in the first half, but there has only been that one goal, which is very, very tight.
Well, this team has found a real rhythm to their game. The players seem to have clicked well, there's good movement off the ball, the passes are sticking. No one's afraid to have a go.
Manchester United come off having scored the only goal of the game so far. It's been tight, it's been exciting, and there is certainly plenty for us to chew on during the break. So that's it, it is all over. Manchester United hold on. It's a narrow squeak, bit of luck, some judgment. 1-0 the score at the final whistle. Could you summarise what we've seen today then, Jim?
Well, a result which owed much to grind and graft, Peter. Not the prettiest of wins, but a very professional performance, I would say. And a clean sheet, of course, is always very welcome.
And all that remains for me is to thank Jim Beglin. That's it from us tonight. A very good evening to one and all.
So with that, and Inter Milan losing 2-0 to Real Madrid, Gregg Popovich effectively had one hand on the trophy already. He would only need to draw against Inter Milan, regardless of what Real Madrid did against AC Milan in the final round of games.
Well, hello and welcome to our coverage of the final day of the International Champions Cup, an event which has seen clubs invited here from right around the globe. This may have only been a short tournament, but it is one that has certainly left its mark here for all the right reasons. The games have been very largely watchable, more than decent, played in a very good spirit, and everybody who has taken part deserves great credit for bringing the game to a new market. Turnout has been fantastic throughout the event, and it is certainly the case here today as well. Let us hope that it all ends just as well. One glance and you know where we are. It is one of the most recognisable arenas for the beautiful game in the world. And boy, does it add to the occasion. So then the final opportunity for these distant fans to see their heroes.
Well, I think all the signs are pointing in the right direction, Peter. If the respective atmospheres are anything to go by, we have to tip our hats to the organisers and the clubs that have made the commitment. Here's hoping we'll all get to return next year. I've certainly enjoyed being part of such an enthusiastic tournament, and we still have plenty to look forward to here.
that gets things running. So Jim, who would you identify as the key man in this fixture?
David De Gea, simply because of the remarkable strides he's made to earn the worldwide respect that now exists. From an insecure, hesitant spell, he's grown into a supremely confident and assured character.
Yes, they'll certainly be leaning heavily on him. Big chance! Martial. Diogo Dalot. Diogo Dalot is making a foray down the right. Shoots! Oh, that is a great stop! Oh, that was no routine save.
The keeper really dug out his defence then, a magnificent effort.
Matic. There's the whistle for half-time. Both sides have drawn blanks. They have toiled at times, but it's not been a bad game by any means. So there was the first half.
Manchester United really did turn up the tempo at the end of the half, and while they would be disappointed not to have broken through, obviously, the chances will come, provided they can keep producing good spells. It's been a half with significantly more positives than negatives, I feel.
No goals at this stage, but certainly not devoid of action. It is 0-0 here at half-time. And that is that. Manchester United, they have won the International Champions Cup. A fine win in this most prestigious friendly tournament, which has been going from strength to strength since it began several years ago. A genuine test against quality opposition from right around the world. And so to the ceremony. This has been a short but a wonderful tournament. It has served as a fine medium to bring football to new fans. The winners, fine ambassadors too, in the cause of the beautiful game.
Never one to rest on his laurels, Coach Popovich, immediately following the end of the pre-season tournament, set his sights forward towards the challenge of the 1920 season. And within the first 2 weeks of the transfer window opening, 5 signings come through the door. The first of these was probably the most significant in the form of Wolves man Ruben Neves, who had been a firm favourite of Coach Popovich since their first encounter 2 seasons ago. After many transfer windows of trying, he finally managed to pry him from Wolves and add him to the squad. The second of these was also quite interesting. It was actually a loan coming in. Odion Igalo, a former Premier League striker with Watford, came in from Shanghai club and was a means to cover the shortages at the striker's position that Popovich has when he had to let go of Romelu Lukaku 2 seasons ago when Real Madrid broke the release clause in his contract. Funny story there, he's actually since gone to Inter Milan. The next 3 signings were Aaron Wan-Bissaka of Crystal Palace, the highly rated right back, Daniel James of Swansea, and Bruno Fernandes of Sporting Lisbon, definitely making for a dynamite midfield that Popovich is building. Now he had Neves on board as well. 2 men out of the door at Manchester United, however, were Luke Shaw and Eric Bailly. Luke Shaw had been shipped off back to Southampton where he'd initially come from, and Eric Bailly had been shipped out to Roma, and they were both out for the same reasons. Over the last 2 seasons since Popovich was in charge, they had struggled to get game time and consistent game time due to lack of fitness or being very injury prone, especially Luke Shaw considering his injury that he suffered a few seasons ago. And with Eric Bailly, it was a definite issue of match fitness. And those sellings made all the more sense when the next 2 signings had come through the door. Napoli's highly rated centre-back Claudio Koulibaly had been brought over from there for £80 million, and the very highly rated Alex Telles had also signed from Porto for £40 million. There was one final signing that Popovich made, again to cover striking options, in the form of Napoli striker Ako Douglas Malik coming over for £30 million from there as well. With just days to go before the opening day of the Premier League season, not much has happened in the transfer window in the Premier League or anywhere else for that matter. The other two clubs aside from Manchester United that have made huge signings and improvements have been Tottenham Hotspur and particularly Arsenal, with their signing of Mandanda, who looks to be maybe either a backup or a replacement for Bernard Leno entirely, and Mikel Arteta has stated that the defence is what he is looking to strengthen. Arsenal have conceded a lot of goals over the last 2 seasons.